Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. Prodigy Bowlers Tour welcomes you to episode 129, the 2022 Kansas City Open September event and the Division I Championship round from Olathe Lanes East in Olathe, Kansas. Today, our top 5 finalists will compete in a stepladder format where a player will keep advancing as long as he keeps winning. In our opening match, the number 5 qualifier, Carson Beach of Weatherby Lake, Missouri, will face off against our number 4 qualifier, Davis Best of Overland Park, Kansas. The winner of that match will advance to face our number 3 qualifier, Colby Lovegren of Lenexa, Kansas. That winner will move on to face the number 2 qualifier, PJ Dokalis of Lynn Valley, Kansas. And that winner will bowl for the championship against our tournament leader, Nolan Nash of Greenwood, Missouri. 4 two-handers and 1 one-hander make up our field today. Who will come out on top? That's what we're here to find out. Welcome to Olathe Lanes East in beautiful, sunshiny Olathe, Kansas. We couldn't ask for a more gorgeous day. We woke up this morning to cool temps, and it's only going to top out at about 72 degrees outside. But on the inside, the action has been heating up all day. This is the kickoff of Prodigy Bowlers Tour Season 7, and at least one tradition is being kept alive, as our winner today will not only win the top prize in Smart Scholarship money, but new to the Kansas City Open, he'll also sign the coveted trophy pin. And sometime between now and June, I intend to do my level best to pin down a venue for our annual Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, where we'll award that pin to the winner. And who knows, it might be right here at Olathe Lanes East, the home of the best youth bowling program in the Kansas City area. 3 players in our field today bowl league here. PJ Dokalis and these 2, Davis Best and Colby Lovegren, who you met on our first Prodigy episode originating from the KC area in June at the KCO Invitational. But they've got their hands full today with these other kids that you're going to see for the first time. As always, there were 2 blocks of 3 games of qualifying. After the first block, PJ Dokalis sat in the lead after a scintillating 725 series this morning. Nolan Nash was right behind, just 11 pins back. Carson Beach and Davis Best were neck and neck just behind them, and Colby Lovegren was on the outside looking in. But then in the afternoon block, Nolan Nash was kind of treading water with 2 games in the 190s until he closed with a 279 to leapfrog past everybody for the lead. And Colby Lovegren finished with games of 246, 229, and 245 to pass several players and grab the number 3 position. But we begin this telecast with our opening match between our 5 seed, Carson Beach, and our 4 seed, Davis Best. Davis is coming off a strong 262 in his 6th game of qualifying, so I'm sure he's eager and ready to get this party started. It is our opening bowlcast of Prodigy Bowlers Tour's 7th season and the opening tournament of the Kansas City Open's 28th season. Talk about a long-standing tradition. Davis Best had the option, and he wants to finish first. So Carson Beach will throw the opening shot in our match. But first, I think he's going to let the player on the left go. That's the Division II group that's bowling on 7 and 8 to our left. We're on 9 and 10, and we are ready to go. A little off balance at the line, but guess what? 10 in the pit. A good way to start. Here he is, 5-step approach, 2-hander. Another one who doesn't even get the ball above hip high. And he plants that one right in the hole. Look where Davis Best is starting out. He's already up against the ball return. Playing a deep inside angle. And Davis pastes the pocket with that one. He's not going to have much room to move left if the lanes break down more. He's already inside the fourth arrow, out to about 12 at the break point. But there's more than one way to skin a cat in this game. And Davis puts a strike up on the board as he moves to the left lane. Wow, he's almost all the way into the fifth arrow. And he still manages to slap out the 10-pin. Here's his footwork. Tiny little first step. Nice little crossover with the second. He's a planter, not a slider. That ball gets out to about 11. And the 6-pin tomahawks out the 10 for a double. Now once again, Carson Beach. When he's not bowling, he likes to play tennis. Well, he got that one all the way out to about 7. And just barely ticks the head pin and gets a light shaker to go. That was a bit of a wall shot. Here's what a wall shot looks like in super slow-mo. Obviously, light on the head pin. The head pin will go to the left wall, come back and get the 4. And the 5 and the 7, and that's another strike. This young man is very deliberate. And another one just like the last. Light in the pocket, but he scatters them. Here's his footwork. Another 5-step approach. Oh, look, he slides. You never see that with young people anymore. Somebody taught him to slide. Good for him. Davis, once again, a solid strike. He is really, really deep on the lane. Brushing up against the ball return, drifting a little left. Just inside the 4th arrow, not quite to the 5th arrow. But he can get those pins to dance from anywhere. Both players perfect through 3. Looks like he might be just a little bit deeper on the left lane. Leaves a ringing 10 this time. Davis, who goes by the nickname D-Slice. I'm assuming that means he plays golf. But I don't really know. Easy spare. Carson is 17 years old. He just turned 17 in July. Didn't start bowling until 14. So he's only been at it 3 years. Takes his time. And he gets the 10-pin to go. I think if there was one thing I would coach up about Carson, it's he gets his spine angle so far forward in his approach. You see that? That's why he falls off balance to the right, and he'll do that almost every shot. If you keep your shoulders and head back a little bit and keep your spine angle a little more upright, you'll keep your base under you, and you'll end up in better balance at the line, which will give you more leverage. He pulled that one left of his target. There's still some oil in the middle of the lanes. Now, we're bowling on the house shot. But unlike the KCO Invitational in June, where there was more scholarship money on the line, and they ran the lanes before the stepladder, today, they oiled the lanes once this morning before our early squads, and not again, so we're bowling on the burn. The 2-8, you got to be careful with this one. Get that back pin. He almost ran past it, but a good spare. So both players with just one non-strike so far. And Davis keeps things going. This young man started bowling at the age of 7 and was in his first league by the time he was 8. So he's an old veteran by now. I give all these guys a form to fill out. It just gives me a little background information on them since I don't know many of them very well. When I asked Davis, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, the president. Might as well set your sights high. Oh, he motioned with his left hand to suggest that's left, and it was. But he's so far deep on the lane, that stayed in the oil, set, and he tripped the 4. Watch this, it's going to come in high on the head pin. That 2 pin's going to go to the wall and get the 4 and 7. And I'd say he liked it. Carson right back on it. Another solid strike for the young man. Big long first step, has a nice drift to the left. I'd much rather see players drift a little to the left than drift to the right if they're right-handed. You don't want to walk into your swing. By walking a little bit to the left, you actually kind of get out of the way of the swing. He takes his time on the approach, but you want your mind to be clear and totally focused before you go. He didn't like it. You could see with his right hand, he kind of motioned to the right, like, stay right, stay right. It didn't. And now he's got the choppable 3-6. Best practice on these right side spares is to move all the way to the left side of the lane, especially with this, that you cut down the angle that you could chop the 3 off the 6. Goes with a spare ball, and it still hooks a little bit, and he chops that 3 off the 6, and we get our first open frame of the day. Look at how close he came to converting this. Fractions of an inch. Davis got that one a little wider than some of the others. We've seen some of his strikes only get out to about 10 and 11, even 12 at the break point. That was out to about 8 or 9. There's more dry out the farther right you go, and so it tends to kind of hook a little harder. And he leaves the stone 9. But an easy spare, and he converts it. So as we get down to the final frames in this match, Davis with a 12-pin lead. And see, once again, he was motioning, stay right, and it didn't. Little high, leaves the 4-pin. Now he will go down the right side of the lane at this left side spare. Woo! Well, that's why they put a coat of paint on him, I guess. Watch this one. Just barely gets it. Wow. Flirting with disaster. Well, I tell you, you could finish a crossword puzzle while waiting for Carson to pull the trigger. But you know what? It's worth the wait most of the time. Another solid strike, and now he finds himself in a position that he can close this match down to just 1 pin with another strike. That was out to about 6. And down they go. But this is the crucial shot of the match for Carson. And we have a blackout on lane 9. What the heck? Well, that's a little disconcerting for the young man. Like calling timeout on a field goal kicker before the decisive kick at the end of the game. He needs this strike to go from an 11-pin deficit to just 1. And the lane blacks out on him, so he waits. So while he waits, and we wait, I'll tell you that our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour should come out toward the end of September. And we're back at Olathe Lanes East and the September KCO. There is another division that we are covering. The camera is filming right now. And we will bring you the action of Division 5. There are 5 divisions at the KCO. We're going to bring you Division 1 every month. And with the second camera, we will rotate through the other divisions. Now, I don't know that we'll do them in order, but we'll skip around and show you all the divisions eventually. That'll give all the kids in all the divisions a chance to be on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. But now, after a lengthy delay, Carson Beach gets his chance to square this match. Big shot right here in the 9th. A strike is huge if he can get it. Yep, he didn't like it. Once again, you saw him gesturing with his right hand to stay right, and these lanes are just really hooking. And it looked like he took a little off on the speed that time. The 6, 9, 10, another tricky one. Oh, look out. Oh, disaster. Well, he could ill afford an open frame there. And now Davis Best with a 25-pin lead in the 9th frame, and he has the hammer in his hand. And I'm not talking about a bowling ball brand. Jumps just a little bit high, leaves the 4-pin. So let's do the math. Carson Beach with 3 strikes in the 10th can shoot 212. Davis Best with a spare here. Can win it on the first ball in the 10th. Nine on his first ball would wrap it up. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Even if he misses this, he'd have 214, and Carson can't get there. Davis will go cross lane at the 10 pin. Makes it look easy. Davis was our tournament leader at our first Prodigy Bowlers Tour episode to originate from the Kansas City area back in June when we did the KCO Invitational. He was the 1 seed and fell in his title match to Michael Anderson II, but today he tastes victory in the first match, and he gets a little closer to a chance at redemption. But Carson Beach, for a young man who's only been bowling for 3 years, I'd say he's doing just fine. Still got room to grow. But I'll tell you what, he's already got a 299 to his credit and a 767 series. So in just 3 years' time, bowling, he's doing something right. Going to be a 191 finish for Carson, but it's Davis Best who takes match 1 here at the KCO September event, and Davis is going to meet Colby Lovegren next. Hey, Prodigy Land, it's me, Coach Randy, with a quick update on where we stand on the GoFundMe campaign to raise what we need to bring you 2 quality shows per month this season. First, I want to thank everyone who contributed to the GoFundMe. We have purchased the second camera. I found a great deal on an open box model at a Best Buy in Wichita, Kansas. Then someone was kind enough to drive down there to pick it up. And we've purchased the second tripod, camera bag, and other peripherals. The only thing left that we really need is the second platform. Now, this is the platform upon which we stand the tripod, to get the camera up high enough so that your view of the lane and the pins is unobstructed. As you will see on our next show, which will drop later this month, we shot it the old-fashioned way, with the tripod on the floor. In the early days of Prodigy, this is how we shot all the shows, and occasionally a player would block your view of what was going on down at the pins. Then we tried shooting some of the episodes with the camera up on the countertop, only to discover that those counters weren't quite as stable as we thought they were, and sometimes it looked like we were experiencing an earthquake. So we eventually obtained one of these platforms, and it's worked out great. We need to buy one more. With tax and shipping, these things made by IntelliStage run a little under $600. That's all that's standing between us and having a second rig that is on par with the one we've been using and would ensure that you can continue to get the highest quality possible on these shows going forward. If you like what we do on Prodigy Bowlers Tour and would like to support us and help us purchase that second platform, please go to www.gofundme.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour Camera 2 campaign. That's the number 2. We'll do the best we can with what we've got in the interim, but the quality of the show will be much higher if we can shoot both shows each month from the higher perspective that we get from this platform. Visit www.gofundme.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour Camera 2 campaign. And chip in, won't you? Thanks. Carson Beach got off to a strong start in that first match. A four-bagger out of the gate put him in the lead. But he leaked a little oil down the stretch with an open in the 7th when he chopped the 3-6. And then another open in the 9th when he failed to convert the 6-9-10. Both right-side spares, so there might be something there for him to work on when he gets home to Weatherby Lake. Meanwhile, Davis Best closed all his frames en route to a workmanlike 223. Good enough to send him to match 2, where his next opponent is a league mate from here at Olathe Lanes East. Both Davis Best and Colby Lovegren also appeared on Prodigy Bowlers Tour when we made our Kansas City area debut back in June at the KCO Invitational. And now they'll go head-to-head to determine which one will go on to our semifinal match today. Colby started bowling at the age of 8, so both of these guys have been at it for a while. Davis has a slight edge, higher average in this house in league, but they're both in the 2 teens. Oh, a week 10 turns into a messenger, and he loved it. Let's get another look at that one. This is going to hit in the half pocket, and that 6-pin is just going to lay down in the gutter and say, I don't want anything to do with the 10-pin, but the head pin did. And he lets Davis know about it. They're buddies. And Davis answers with one of his own. That one was right about the 4th arrow, out to about 8. And that looks to be just about the sweet spot for him on this pair. Again, that's Division II bowling on the pair to our left. And now Davis will try to put a double up on the board, get off to a quick lead. Wow, he got that one way out to the right. And it just didn't quite make it back, so a week 10. And we've seen him make a couple of these already, should have no problem with this. And another conversion. Colby is a good all-around athlete. He also plays baseball. Has a 300 to his credit. Lists that as his best moment in bowling. I imagine that's the best moment for a lot of people in this sport. Oh, he almost gets another messenger, but misses by a whisker, so he'll have a 10-pin to shoot. He was on our show in June at the KCO Invitational and proved himself to be a good spare shooter. No muss, no fuss. So both of our players start the match with a strike and a spare. Colby admitted to me that when he watched the KCO Invitational, he saw some of the coaching tidbits that I gave him about his foot being out of alignment at the foul line. And he'd really been working on that, trying to keep his left foot perpendicular to the foul line. That one looked pretty good. And the results were even better. Let's take a look at his footwork. He's a 5-stepper, starts with the left foot, takes a tiny little step. He's a planter, not a slider. Comes in light, he gets the wall shot. That time, his left foot was pretty much parallel to the launch angle. That's what you want. Davis was up on his toe a little bit at the line that time. And that ball just comes in a little high, leaves the 4. But he takes care of it without a problem, as you would expect. If you want to be good at this sport, you better learn to make your spares. And you can start with the 4-pin and the 10-pin. If you're a right-hander, those are the 2 spares you're going to leave more often than anything else. Oh, almost another messenger. But that ball just labored to get back. It is hard to carry the corner pins when you're playing that deep on the lane. You got to throw a lot of ball. And Davis does throw a lot of ball, but sometimes it's just too much. Look out. Off into the moat. And when the ball bounces out of the moat like that, it doesn't count. Once this ball is in the gutter, and there it is, even if it bounces out, it doesn't count. So that's an open frame. And that didn't help his cause. So Colby takes the lead and has a strike working, so he can extend to 23 with another X here. Just like that. And Colby puts that strike up in the 4th, gets a double, and increases his lead to 23. Take a look at the 6-pin. That's the second one from the right. It's going to go into the gutter, and it's just going to have enough to get the very bottom of the 10-pin. Almost a tomahawk chop, but just got it at the very base of the pin. And now he can take control of this match. Another strike would give him a 33-pin lead. Pulled it. Oh, he got away with it. Oh, my goodness. You got to have a little luck in this game. Watch this. How far left is this? He hits a little left of the 4th arrow. And that's the 3-pin that trips out the 6. A left-hander would be proud of that shot. But Colby, he'll take it. And Davis now, once again, has trouble getting that 10-pin to go. I was a little concerned about Davis when I saw him playing up against the ball return. Even at the beginning of the first match, he didn't have any place to move left. And now he's really got himself a problem. Back-to-back blown 10-pins. And this is not the Davis best that I've seen bowl. Now he's in dire straits. But he doesn't give up. Gotta like that. Gets a light shaker on lane 9. We'll take another look at it. Watch the head pin. The one in front. He's just barely going to tick it, and it comes over and gets the 4, 5, and 7. Colby says, I ain't having any of that. he goes through the nose. That could have been a split. But the 6-10 should be a routine spare for a good spare shooter. Got to be careful not to chop it, though. Easy peasy. Now, ordinarily, with a 42-pin lead, as you're up in the 7th, I'd just say, just stay clean, and you can walk this one home. But I've seen Davis best string strikes, so Colby would do best if he just kept pouring it on and not give Davis an opening. They start to look similar after a while. How similar? Let's take a look at our Prodigy Bowlers Tour 3 deep look with 3 shots stacked on top of each other. Pretty similar action on all of them. Yikes. Well, you saw Davis fall off balance that time, and when that kind of stuff is happening, it's just not going your way. Just hit one and hope something bounces out. Not to be. It rarely is on the 4-6, and now a 54-pin deficit. Davis, I think he knows where this is headed. A possible 194 if he strikes out. Colby is going at a 218 pace if he goes spare strike the rest of the way. But you never know. I have seen some strange, strange things happen in this game. Davis does what he's got to do. Gets a strike in the 8th. And this was a good one. Moved back to the right a little bit. That works. Colby can put him away here. But not with shots like that. That was a runaway train. And he leaves the 5-pin. Not a spare you would expect to see. A 2-hander leave. But when you miss the pocket and cross over, there's no telling what you're liable to leave. Easy spare, though. Probably the easiest spare. Well, I think one more mark ought to do it. If he opened in the 9th and 10th, he'd probably end up in the 190s. The best Davis Best can do is 194. So it would come down to count in that situation. Another errant shot. And Colby needs to settle himself if he does win this match. Because you're not going to go very far throwing shots like that. The 6-10. Makes it again. And that'll make his job a lot easier the rest of the way. Davis must strike out to have any chance. Nearly leaves the 7-10, but a non-strike, and, well, that's all she wrote. Now the best he can do is 174. Colby's already got that and then some. So they'll just go through the motions of getting a final score. It's Colby Lovegren who's going to move on to our semifinal match. Davis just lost his look this game, and as you can see now, it's just crossing over. He was already up against it. I mean, literally, he was up against it. From the very first ball he threw on the show today, he was brushing up against the ball return. He had no place to move left other than to move up in front of the ball return on the right lane and just take 3 steps, I guess. Well, you see, this time he just threw his spare ball up the right side of the lane. He just had no shot. I don't know what his arsenal is like. I don't know if he's got anything weak enough that he could have kept it on the right side of the lane, but maybe urethane? I don't know. I don't know what his options are. But he will throw a backup ball at the 1-2-4-8-10, and so much for that idea. A 162. Well, we've seen better out of Davis. He's certainly capable of better. It just was a tough go with so little oil on the lanes. Colby will take a victory lap, and he's having a hard time keeping that ball on the right side of the head pin as well. These last few frames, he's struggling. So he's going to have to make some kind of adjustment in the next match, or he's going to make a quick exit. That is the third 610 he's made this game. And you don't want to be leaving that, because where there's a 610, there's often a 4-7. He threw that one way out to the right, and it didn't quite come back, so he's still searching, but he'll have to figure it out in the next match. It's Colby Lovegren against P.J. Dokalis when we return. Davis Best had a good thing going, but following his 223 in the opening match, D-Slice then had back-to-back missed 10 pins in the 4th and 5th frames, while Colby Lovegren was piling up the strikes and leaving few escape hatches for his opponent. And when Davis 4-6'd in the 7th, well, it was all but over. So it's Colby Lovegren who'll be moving on to face Peter or PJ Douglas. PJ and Colby both bowl league here at Olathe Lanes East, and both have averages in the mid-2 teens. So this should be a close match. PJ is the lone one-hander in our field today, and I think he has the best look of any of our finalists. He's playing a very simple down and in shot. Like in all match play situations, though, it comes down to who makes the critical shot when the pressure is on and it matters the most. PJ Douglas has made a few critical shots in his day. He finished third in the state, the high school state meet a couple of years ago. And how about that angle? Just a very simple down and in shot, second arrow. I love this guy's game. Just straight back, straight through. Bingo. You want to copy somebody's game if you want to bowl one-handed. PJ Douglas, not a bad model. And if you want to bowl two-handed, Colby Lovegren isn't a bad model to follow either. He's figured something out while we were waiting for this third match to start. He was all over the map at the end of that last match, but an educated guess perhaps, but a solid strike. And now he's going to see if the same thing will work on the left lane. He was having a hard time staying off the nose or crossing over at the end of our second match. Looks to me like he's just decided to throw it harder. Kept it in the pocket, nearly got a messenger. Colby can scatter those pins. Another 10 pin. We've seen him make a few of these already. No problem. So now PJ Douglas, who lists Francois Lavoie as his favorite pro bowler. Another one with a game you could model yours after. This young man is 16 years old. And he knows the line to the pocket, that's for sure. Four-step approach. And look, another slider. And another solid strike. I joke about the slide, but really, over the long haul, I believe that a slide will put less strain on your left knee than a plant. So as you get older, that becomes more of an issue. He's smooth. And he's perfect through 3 frames. Here's his footwork. Right foot first, and there's that slide. And that left foot is perfectly perpendicular to the foul line. If you're playing down and in, that's what you're looking for. When the left foot ends up pointing to the right, it throws your weight off kilter, and you lose a little bit of leverage. You also tend to pull it because you'll be throwing the ball across your upper body if you spin out like that. Another solid strike for Colby, and you'll notice he had his left foot perpendicular to the line too, something he'd been working on since I pointed it out on our KCO Invitational telecast. He's got the ball close to his body at the top of the swing. That is ideal. And then look how close the ball is to his ankle, and it's right under his head at release. That's what you want. And see how he stays down through the shot? He doesn't rear up at the foul line like I see a lot of two-handers do. This guy has got a lot of game. And a light shaker to put a double up on the board. Here's his footwork, 5 steps, so he'll start with the left, little crossover. He's a planter, gets that ball out to about 6, and it hits light, and the head pin does all the damage on the left side of the rack. All right, PJ. Ooh, that was a good shot. Just maybe squeezed the pocket a little too tight. Just a little high on the head pin and chops the 5 right off the 9 for the dreaded stone 9. But an easy spare, and I would imagine that with his game, these spares are no problem. Takes care of it. And just as I expected we might, we've got a close match within a mark. PJ started bowling at the age of 7 and bowled league that first year as well. He started bowling in a family league. And once again, just a touch high, leaves the 4. You know, they say straighter is greater. I don't know if straight is great, but straighter, you're able to control the hook and keep the ball in play. And in tournament bowling, it's all about closing your frames and making spares. And if you can control the pocket and stay in the pocket, you're going to leave easy spares. When you're covering lots of boards, hooking the whole lane, there's no telling what you'll leave when you miss. Colby's hooking it, and he seems to be controlling the pocket. Oh man, he gets away with a high hit, and he trips out the 4 and 7. It is a little bit unusual to approach the pocket from such an extreme entry angle, hit high, and trip the 4. We see where his ball is. He's out by about the 6th board, and then it hits right up on the nose. Watch the 2-pin go to the left wall, splits the 4 and 7, and Colby breathes a sigh of relief. Get up on the approach and throw another one before the replay official has a chance to throw the red flag. Didn't get that one as wide, and so it didn't hook back as sharply. More oil in the middle of the lane, but Colby has more than enough juice on the ball to snap out the corner pin. Watch the 6 chop out the bottom of the 10 pin. Gotta love it. And that gives Colby a 12-pin lead. Oh man, PJ just rips them apart with that one. The classic swisher. What does that look like in slow motion? Watch the 5-pin, the one in the middle of the rack. He's going to hit the half pocket, and as the ball goes through, it just ticks the 5-pin, splits the 5 and 6, and sends the 5 whistling over into the 7. That's the swisher. The quintessential power strike. And that would knock over tree trunks right there. This is just solid in the hole. You can't throw it any better than this. He's moved in a little bit, though. Playing about 12 or 13 at the arrows, swings it out. But it's just a gentle little hook. Not covering all that many boards. And he squeezes this match down to just 2 pins with that double. Colby really gave that one some fingers. It came charging back. Here's the solid 10. Watch the 6 pin, the second one from the right. The 3 will hit the 6 at an angle that sends it up and around the neck of the 10 pin. And those hits will just break your heart. But he takes care of another 10 pin. You keep pounding the pocket like Colby does. The 10 pin may be about the only thing you can leave. Maybe an occasional 4 or a stone 9 or something. But we've got us a tight match, 1 pin separating these two as it starts to get late. And another one where he just tomahawks out the 10 pin. Man, this is a solid strike. You've really got to have some stuff on the ball playing this deep to get the 10 to go. Watch the 6 pin. It'll go to the right wall, come back and just chop the legs out from under the 10 pin. And we've got us a 1 pin match. Goodness. And with that strike, PJ takes the lead by 9. Keeps his string going. Watch this one. Simple swing, just straight back and straight through. Boy, that kind of game is repeatable, and it'll hold up under pressure. That's the kind of game you want to build for yourself right there. Something you can depend on when the nerves are frayed and the jitters set in. Another good one. Did I mention that ringing 10 can break your heart? If he'd have struck there, Colby would not be able to shut him out. But without that foundation strike in the 9th, he's going to give Colby an opportunity to just take it off the sheet and win the match. Oh, no. Well, you hate to see that. Now Colby takes the lead sitting on the bench. PJ just handed him the lead with that open. A mental lapse, perhaps. I would guess that PJ would be a better spare shooter than that. But now Colby has his fate in his own hands. If he can strike here, he won't need to strike in the 10th to shut out PJ. Oh man, that's big. Now that means he'll only need a mark in the 10th and good count to get it done. Take another look at that shot. Look at how in balance he is at the foul line. He never falls off balance. And if you're in balance at the foul line, you're likely going to have maximum leverage. That strike was huge. Now Colby just needs to fill 17 pins here in the 10th, and he'll be bowling for the championship. 9 spare, 8 would do it. Any sort of combination that'll give him 17 pins. A strike will wrap it up. All right, a little wide. You don't want to go through the nose in that situation. You don't want to leave the 2-8-10 either, but he didn't. 2 pin, so he needs to make this and then fill 8 on the fill ball. And that would shut out PJ. Boy, that missed 10 pin in the 9th frame by PJ. He's got to be kicking himself right now. I feel you. Easy spare. So 8 would give him 236. The best PJ can do is 235. Colby will take his time on this one. Colby Lovegren has never won a big youth bowling tournament. I'm not sure he's ever bowled for the title. This is a big shot right here. He can shut him out with an 8 count. And that'll do it. PJ congratulates him. He can keep score. He knows the deal. 237 is enough to send Colby into the championship match. PJ will finish it out. I thought he had the best shot. He was my pick to win today. And, boy, he'd like to have that 10-pin back in the 9th frame, wouldn't he? Another solid hit. There's just not a lot to go wrong with his game. It's so simple. He just walks straight up, swings it straight back, straight through. Another strike. Ho-hum. But how many times have you heard us coaches harp on the notion that you gotta make your spares? This kid's gonna win a lot of tournaments if he wants to. With that game, are you kidding me? He'll be back. Fill it up for 235. 235, thank you very much. Not enough, but a good game, a close game. But it's Colby Lovegren who's bowling for the championship against our tournament leader, Nolan Nash, next. I have to admit, I thought PJ Douglas had the right shot to tame this pair of lanes, but that missed 10-pin in the 9th frame put him on the ropes, and Colby Lovegren slammed the door shut with a clutch performance in the 10th. I hate it when somebody loses on a mistake, but I love it when a player has a chance to perform under pressure and then comes through, and that's exactly what Colby did. So it's Colby Lovegren who advances to our final match today to bowl for the championship against our tournament leader, Nolan Nash. Both players claim identical 215 averages, but Nolan has tasted victory in youth bowling tournaments before. Colby, on the other hand, is going for his first tournament title. So it remains to be seen whether he can repeat what he did in the semifinal match and stare down pressure once again to claim his first youth bowling tournament title. Got to be a little bit nerve-wracking if you've never been in this position before, but anyway, Nolan has chosen to finish first, so Colby will lead off. And he starts with a bang. Watch it again. We've seen a lot of these from him today. Over the 4th arrow. That one goes out to about 7. And a perfect result. So now we get our first look at Nolan Nash. And that one doesn't quite get back. And he begins with a tricky little spare, the 2-4-5-8, or as we call it, the bucket. You want to put the ball right on the 2 and 5 and let the ball drive through and get the sleeper 8. The 2 will get the 4. And he does it perfectly. Boy, that's not the spare you want to start with, that's for sure. Well, as I mentioned, I give these kids a form to fill out so I know a little bit about them. And one of the questions is, tell us any pertinent facts about yourself that Prodigy viewers might find interesting. And Nolan just wrote, my hair. He has perfect hair. But that's 2 frames, and he hasn't thrown a perfect shot just yet. Another light one, an unusual 4-pin. Usually you leave the 4-pin when you come in just a little bit high, but in this case it was sort of a shaker 4. That could have been a strike. But he will have a single pin to shoot. And he takes care of it with no problem, but always disappointing when you go strikeless in your first at-bat. And now this gives Colby an opportunity to jump out to a quick lead. String a couple more strikes here. And there's one. And it was a good one. Well, that'll settle his nerves a little bit, you would think. If he had any to begin with. He knew that was good as soon as it left his hand. Players know. See them running the lanes that were the practice pair earlier. I guess all the players that were practicing are now bowling in their championship match down to the left. They're getting ready for a league that comes in right behind us. Oh! He gave that one a little extra loft coming off his hand. When you do that, sometimes your fingers give it a little extra juice. Makes the ball jump at the end. Watch this. It's going to come in very high. Look at that. But the 2-pin is going to go to the left wall and split the 4 and 7 like a boss. Hey, it's not how, it's how many. Nolan's got his hands full now. But he's up to the task, throws a beautiful strike. And I'll tell you what, there is so much to like about this kid's game. Watch this. Look at this follow-through. And he stays in perfect balance at the foul line. That 6 chops out the 10. He lets Colby know, I'm here. And a quick double to let Colby know, I'm not going away. Here's his footwork. Kind of takes a false first step. It's really a 4-step delivery. That was a little bit high, but he got away with it. Stuffed him straight back. So Colby going for a 4-bagger. Oh man, he really overjuiced that one. He got so far under the ball at release that when he let it go, he came around it a little bit too much. Watch this. This is a runaway train. Look out. Hide the women and small children. But he gets away with it. And now Colby is in the driver's seat. 21-pin lead. You see that? He let out a big exhale. He took a big deep breath and let it out to calm his nerves. Sometimes when you carry a shot like that, you start to feel like, maybe this is my day. But then he comes right back and leaves the bucket. And I don't even want to contemplate all the different ways there are to miss this. There's also a bunch of different ways to shoot at it. I've seen some players play it down the right side, adjusting off their strike ball. Other players like to go down the left side of the lane. This is just a very dangerous spare, especially in this kind of situation. And he chopped it. And you can see the disappointment in his body language. But that is the break Nolan was waiting for. With a double working, he can now take the lead with another strike here in the fifth. Oh, you saw him rear up after he had let it go. He did it out of disgust. He knew he'd pulled the ball. And that goes right through the nose. He nearly leaves a split. Just ends up with the 6-10. A makeable spare. You got to be careful with this, too. And he chops it. Unbelievable. Here, I don't want it. You take it. No, I don't want it either. Both players have to regroup now. Nolan lets a golden opportunity slip through his fingers. He's now down by 19. And that goes high. Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're bowling on the house shot. But this is no easy shot. They oiled the lanes this morning before the early block. About 120 or so players bowled 6 games on these lanes. They haven't been oiled since, and now we're bowling on the burn. All right, there's a spare to stop the bleeding anyway. But I guess this is like the back nine on Sunday at Augusta National for the Masters. We're on the second half of the championship match here at the KCO September. And somebody's got to pull it together here at the end. Colby with a 19-pin lead coming off an open. And he knew that was good as soon as he let it go. You could see him kneel down. You used to see pro bowlers go down to one knee when they knew they'd thrown it good. Watch him. He gets down to look at it. Yes! Now he needs another one to back it up to take real command of this match. A strike here and he'd have a 29-pin lead. Oh, man. That's how you get a light shaker. We'll take a closer look at this. Watch the head pin. He's just going to tick it on the right edge. It's going to go to the left wall and take out. It took out the 2. Now it's going to get the 4, 5, 7, and 8. One pin took out 5 other pins. But that's okay. They don't give style points in bowling. If they did, the Russian judge would have ruled me out of the competition a long time ago. There's a solid strike, and Nolan could use a few more of those as we come down the stretch. Let's take a closer look at this young man's game. He's got a lot of things going on right. Look how close the ball is to his side, elbow in tight, and it's right under his head at release. And then he stays down through the shot, holds the pose. Even as the ball goes down the lane, he doesn't move. He's in perfect balance. If you're going to bowl two-handed, this is a game to copy right here. And there's another solid shot. And that keeps him within shouting distance. Take another look at that one. Over the fourth arrow, out to about 8. And that ball puts a much-needed X on the scoreboard just when he needed it most. That'll make Colby think about it just a little bit here. Oh my! Colby goes right through the nose. And that little bit of extra pinfall didn't really help matters. The 3-7 would have been easier than the 6-7. Here's how you make the 6-7-10. You slide the 6 all the way across the lane into the 7. The ball will take out the 10. I think the question right now is, do you go for it or do you take the count? Well, he's going for it. Oh, but that's not what you want to see. If he goes 9 out there, takes the count, at least he'd still have a 4-pin lead. But he's just throwing pins away now. But, I don't know, you got to be aggressive in that situation. The match is on the line. But now you just got to regroup and hope Nolan doesn't take it off the sheet and shut you out. That's an important strike just in case. And you saw Colby throw his towel down on the table. He was not a happy camper after that open frame. Light shaker. Sometimes your best friend, that foundation strike in the 9th, could prove crucial if Nolan doesn't strike out. Boom. So here's the situation. With that strike, Nolan takes the lead in the 9th frame. Here's the shot again. And I love the way he holds that follow-through as the ball gets way down the lane. He knew that was important. He needs 2 strikes in the 10th to shut out Colby. There's the first one. This is textbook right here. Watch this one. Over the 4th arrow, out to about 8. And see you later. A strike here, and then he'd need 1 pin on his fill ball to shut out Colby Lovegren. This is the match right here. This ball. Oh, you get 8 and a wiggle, young man. Just a little high, and the 4-7 will not go. And that leaves the door open a crack for Colby Lovegren. Goodness gracious. Gotta cover this. All right. So Nolan finishes with a 223. So Colby knows exactly what he needs. He must strike on the first ball. He must strike on the second ball, and he'll need 9 on the fill ball to win by 1. Anything less, and Nolan is the champion. Colby must strike. my goodness! Just like Nolan went high and left the 4-7, Colby goes high with that. And look what happens. Watch the 2-pin. That's the third one from the left. Ball's going to hit high, and it's going to send the 2 to the left wall, and it's going to come back and split the 4, and then the 7 is very late, but it falls. And that keeps Colby in it. But now he needs one more. If he can strike here, it will keep his hopes of winning alive and bring it all down to one shot. Oh, he ran that one out. He knew it had a chance. He finds the half pocket and rips out the 5-pin. Oh, man. We talk about the ripper. Here it is. This will hit the half pocket and split the 5 and 6 and send the 5-pin over toward the 7. So it comes down to one final ball. Colby Lovegren has never won a youth bowling tournament. He has one ball to do it right here. He needs 9 or a strike. 8 would be a tie. 7's a loser. Ball game. And with family and friends looking on, you hear their applause. Colby Lovegren wins the Kansas City Open September tournament in Division I. And now he gets to do something no KCO winner has ever done before: sign the coveted trophy pin. Well, that was about as exciting a finish as you could ever hope for. A couple of lead changes in the championship match made it a white-knuckle thrill ride all the way through to the end. And you gotta love it when nobody really loses the match, but rather someone steps up in a high-tension situation and throws a double in the 10th to win. Nolan bowled great, but Colby bowled just a little bit better. 1 pin better, to be exact. So Colby Lovegren is the Division I champion at the 2022 Kansas City Open September tournament. And now he gets to do something that no other Kansas City Open winner has ever done before. And I know longtime viewers of Prodigy Bowlers Tour know exactly what I'm talking about.
We saw you in June in this same bowling center, and you bowled great. You just came up a little short when you ran into Mike Anderson. And I seem to recall that you told me you'd never won a big junior bowling tournament before.
Yeah, at least not at this level, I don't think. So it's good to get one under my belt, that's for sure.
You picked a good one, the season opener. Now, there is something that goes along with this tournament that has never gone along with the Kansas City Open before, and that is you're introducing the Kansas City area to a tradition that has been going on for 6 years on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. You get to sign the coveted trophy pin. Now here's the deal with the coveted trophy pin.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, everybody who signed it gets invited to the Tournament of Champions, and the winner wins it.
Oh.
Now, there's another part of the tradition that's a little unusual, and that is that so far all of the winners have given it away in an amazing act of selflessness, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, you get to put your name on it.
Perfect.
And the date. Put the date on there, September 11th, 2022.
Should I put it underneath?
You put it anywhere you want. Colby Lovegren, ladies and gentlemen, the first in the Kansas City area to throw a shot on Prodigy Bowlers Tour back in June, and now he's the first in the Kansas City area to sign the coveted trophy pin. Congratulations.
In addition to the Division I finals, which you saw today, you also got a glimpse of some of the action in Division II on the lanes to our left. Here are the results of the Division II stepladder finals. In the opening match, Justin Preston got by Austin Wallace 199 to 195. Then Evan Slife defeated Justin Preston 195 to 161. In the semifinal, Andrew Coleman uncorked a 244 to Evan Slife's 175 to get to the championship match, where he then took down tournament leader Hayden Jamieson 213 to 180. So congratulations to Andrew Coleman in Division II and Colby Lovegren in Division I. In our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we'll be right back here at Olathe Lanes East for the championship round of Division 5 of the Kansas City Open September tournament. And we'll also recap the results in Divisions 3 and 4. And a reminder that we'll be at Gladstone Bowl in Gladstone, Missouri on Sunday, October 2nd for the October tournament in the 2022 Kansas City Open Youth Scholarship Series. For more information about the KCO or to download your entry form, visit www.kansascityopen.com. So, until next time, this is Coach Randy, USBC Silver Coach, reminding you to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, remember to hit our GoFundMe campaign at www.gofundme.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour Camera 2 campaign to help us purchase that second platform. And we'll see you on the next edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, go get your bowl on.